Well, hello there, everyone. This is Mazske Finance. Today is Monday, April 18th of 2022, and hopefully this finds you doing fantastic. And we have another great guest with us today. So before I turn it over to him, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like the videos. Feel free to comment because we'll talk about a subject that I guarantee you will be interested in and you will want to comment on. So with that being said, Millennial Mike, welcome back and take it from here.
How's it going, guys? Mark, as always, thanks for having me back on the channel. So we were watching The Three Amigos, and The Three Amigos, Dion, the lumberjack, and Mike Wtr were talking about the hardest thing about getting to financial independence. And then once you're in financial independence, you're financially independent. What's the hardest thing about being financially independent? So I was like, well, I'm going to ask Mark what he thought the most difficult thing was about getting to financial independence, and what you have to sacrifice or give up, or what I want to hear is from him. But before that, down in the comments down below, if you are financially free already, leave a comment down below with what was the hardest thing. And if you're not there yet, what do you think is like the most difficult thing you're currently giving up right now to hopefully make it to be financially independent? So Mark, let's hear it. What are your thoughts?
Sounds good. And play on what you just said. If you want to comment below, pause this video and put your comments down before you hear what I say or what Mike says. All right. So with that being said, the hardest thing for me in preparing to be financially independent, 1999 is when I found out about FIRE. FIRE stood for Financially Independent Retire Early. I found it on the Mud Wtr board. And as soon as I heard that acronym and read about it, I was obsessed with FIRE, being financially independent. But the only way I knew to become financially independent was through stock investing. So I did my best to learn how to invest in stocks. But the hard part was I was living very lean because I was a low-paid police officer. I had 2 young kids. I had a mortgage that was 1 paycheck on my 2 paychecks a month. So I really didn't have any extra money. So as the years went on, I would always be running the numbers saying, all right, if I could accumulate $1 million, 4% of $1 million, wow, it's only $40,000, because you got that Trinity study. It says roughly 4% is a safe withdrawal rate. And I was like, well, if I want to live a nice lifestyle, I really need like $2 million, and that'd be 80,000, but I can't accumulate $2 million. I don't even know if I can accumulate $1 million. So as the years went on, my stock portfolio grew. The amount it was valued at grew, but it took me some time. As I was counting down to retirement, it became crystal clear to me I was not going to get to $1 million. I wasn't even going to get to $500,000. So if I retired at age 50 from police work, I'd have my pension, which the day I retired was roughly $32,000, $33,000 a year. And then maybe I have $400,000 in the stock market, and 4% of $400,000 is only like $16,000 a year. So at times it was like, why am I doing this? Because I don't make enough money to put in stocks. But I would get frustrated, but I never gave up, because I always said, if I can get $400,000, that's better than not having any money. Or if I get $500,000, it's better than having nothing. But then I found real estate, and I bought my first rental house in 2017. And it was probably late 2018 or early 2019. I sat down, I ran the numbers with my positive cash flow, and I had 5, 6, 7 rental units. And I played the numbers out, and I realized, wow, I can bring in better cash flow for my real estate because I'm not accumulating it and selling it. It's spinning off cash flow. And that kind of opened my eyes up real fast. I need to go all in on real estate. So I started taking money out of stocks and going full bore into real estate. And as you know, I went from 0 to 25 rentals in 4 years. And once I got there, I realized I think I was financially independent. I wasn't sure. I thought I was. And we'll get into that part later. But back to you, Mike.
So really what I'm hearing is kind of the most difficult thing for you was sort of a mindset thing. You're sitting there and you're trying to do the math. You're trying to figure it out. You're like, okay, look, I'm saving all of this money. And I know that if I can just withdraw 4% of $1 million, that's 40 grand a year. Now, 40 grand a year is not a lot to live on, but that's kind of an industry standard that you hear a lot. And you're sitting there saying, how do I make it to $1 million? How do I make it to 2 million? I don't want to just live on 40,000. And so as you said, you didn't even know if you'd make it to 500,000. So what I think is important here that people need to take away is a lot of people, they come to the same realization and then they choose to do nothing, to ignore it, to not try to think outside of the box, to not try to come up with any other ideas. But the important thing is that you have to be able to adapt. You're going to either say, oh, well, I guess there's nothing I can do about it and work until you die at 75, or you're going to say, I have to come up with some sort of plan. And so, Mark found the Fool, started investing with their stocks, and then he went from there. He went into real estate, and that's when the gears really started turning for him. He's like, man, I can make a lot of money doing this, and grew from 0 to 25 rentals. So it kind of sounds like the hardest thing was just finding the right vehicle to get you to financial independence. You always had the desire, but it was like, how do I actually make it happen? And you finally found real estate, and boom, exploded your success. So now what I want to hear is, okay, you make it to 25 rentals. You're now financially independent. You're able to live just off the money you make on your investments. With your rental properties, you're able to live down in Florida in your big, beautiful house that we were just talking about earlier, which I can't wait to visit in October. And I want to hear, now that you are financially free, financially independent, what is the hardest thing for you to have to cope with, deal with, give up, or sacrifice?
Okay. All right. That's a good question. And I'm different than a lot of people, because if you look at the three amigos, Michael Zuber is financially independent. He still lives in the same house that he bought however many years ago. Matt, the lumberjack landlord, lives in at least the same location he's always lived in. Dion, I think once is open to moving, but is still in the area that he's been in. When I became financially independent, my goal was to move to a completely different area, 1,000 miles away. And I knew it was going to be a challenge, because I knew financially I was leaving a paid off house. And no matter if it's the best house or not, when you have a paid off house, it's that comfort blanket. You got your house. No one can kick you out as long as you pay the taxes. Right. So when I decided to take the plunge and move down here, a couple things happened. One, I could do everything on paper and in my spreadsheets and be like, I think I'll be okay. I think I can pay all my bills. But until we actually do it, I don't know. And I also had my spouse who was working. I came down first. She came down 6 months later. Leading up to her coming down here, I was really crunching the numbers, because once she came down here, we were giving up her paycheck and her health insurance. So that means I have to get my own health insurance and live 100% on my investments and that pension that I have. All right. So that alone is hard enough, because if you're, as I've said in my videos, I am lean, financially independent. I don't have a large cushion. So when I go through what I've been going through with rentals, staying empty for a while, with an eviction taking 6 months, rent's not coming in completely, things get really tight. All right. So that's one aspect of it. So before you take the jump to go financially independent, try to have a little bit of a cushion. But when you do like I did, and you move 1,000 miles away where you literally don't know a single person, that creates another challenge too. I'm older than you are, Mike. So if you came here now, your challenges would be a little bit different than mine, but yet still similar. So when I came here, I don't know anybody. We all need some sort of social contact. We need to have some sort of friends. I have Millennial Mike, who's on my phone. I have my mastermind group. I have my 2 boys, but they're 3,000 miles away in California or out in the ocean somewhere. Most of my family is 1,000 plus miles away. So it was a challenge where I knew I'd have to make new friends. And as you can tell by me having a channel, I chit chat a lot. So I do talk to a lot of people. But even with that being said, I don't have that good, I don't have my, say, a best friend here in this area yet. You might move here one day, and maybe you and I become best friends. We'll see. So, but along with that, I had to find everything new again. Like, what supermarket will I shop in? What eye doctor will I go to? What general doctor will I go to? I had videos about a colonoscopy. Which of that type of doctor will I go to? Because if you Google it, you can always Google anything. You Google, okay, who's the best eye doctor in my area? There's 100 different eye doctors, and you start reading reviews. And do you go for all 5 stars, or do you go 3.6 that has 1,200 reviews, or all 5 stars with 2 reviews?
So, yeah, right.
Yep. So, but with that being said, I am so glad I made this decision. If nothing changed at all from here on, I'm still okay. I could stay lean, financially independent the rest of my life, and everything will be okay, because as long as I can pay my mortgage, I'm in a nice house with a nice swimming pool, and I'm on the water. I could live with that. But my expectations, as you know, and as my viewers know, I fully expect to move up a notch in lean financial independence to financially independent to what I would call fat fire, or I've thrown it out on in some video. I have a goal. I don't think it's impossible, but it may take me longer than a year and a half, but it may not take me longer than a year and a half. But that goal is to get to positive cash flow in 1 month of $25,000. And if I can get there, life will not be lean anymore.
I would say that is definitely fat fire right there. 25 bands a month. So, okay, I have a theory. I want to know what your thoughts on this are, Mark. I think that it's impossible. It is, even if you never do anything else, acquire another property, buy another stock at all, I think it's impossible for you to not be fat fire within 10 years. Here's why. Just because of the way that inflation works, rents are going to go up. Meanwhile, your payment, your 30-year fixed rate payments, or on some of your properties, maybe you have a balloon at like 15 or something, but for the most part, you have 30-year fixed rate money on 25 rental properties. But those rents over the next 10 years are going to rise and rise and rise. And you're going to bring in and cash flow positively more and more and more money. I don't think that it's actually possible for you to not be in a significantly better position 10 years from now than you are today, even if you did nothing else. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, because, something I haven't talked about yet is, besides my 25 rental properties, I do have other investments in both oil drilling and mineral rights acreage. And so that's additional income that is just starting to come in. So even if I did nothing, you are 100% correct. Over the next 10 years, my rents will keep going up and my mortgage stays the same. So life will get better and better. But then we combine it with the oil, the price of oil keeps going up and up and up. So that's additional income. And then me knowing Mazske like I know him, I'm not just going to stand pat and do nothing. As I gain more equity in some rental house, I may decide to do a cashback refinance, or I may decide to sell it and I go from 1 house to 3 houses, or 1 house to 4. There's always something churning up here with a potential idea. I don't always act on it or follow through on it, but the wheels are always spinning, and I'm always trying to think of something else I can do in regards to investing, something I can tweak, something I can make better. And that's why I like talking to you, or I like just talking on my videos, because I brainstorm sometimes. Even if you're not here, I brainstorm with my channel looking for feedback. Okay, that's why I love comments. I love getting some feedback on what I'm doing. So, but anyway.
Yeah. And I think it's extremely important for people to recognize, Mark joked casually about us being best friends. I mean, I would consider us pretty close to best friends already. I mean, I talk to you on almost a daily basis. I watch your videos every day, comment on pretty much every video you make. We have hour-long, I mean, we've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes already, even though the video's only been going for like 10 minutes. But, we talk all the time. This is just more evidence as to the reason why you need to network and you need to find a mentor, and you should probably message Mark, because he is always happy to talk about investing. And if you watch my channel and follow my story, you know that I've pretty much everything I've done, Mark did first a couple of years before me, and I've just copied and pasted the success. So yeah, I mean, I think networking and brainstorming ideas, and that's what some of our conversations have been. It's like, well, I guess let's just shoot some ideas around about thoughts that we're having about the market and how we're going to react to it, and we'll make a video about it. But that's how you come up with good strategies and make sure that you're not forgetting something or making a poor choice. So, Mark, I think we got the questions answered for this video. I appreciate you having me on the channel.
Sure. And just something I just thought of real quick there is stick this in the back of your mind, or anyone who wants to become financially independent. If you or anyone else becomes financially independent at age 50 or younger, you're in the minority. So when you go, doesn't matter if you stay where you are in the Seattle area, doesn't matter if anyone stays wherever they're living at. If all of a sudden you stop working, your friends, your peers who are around the same age, they're all going to work. So you got to be able to find a way to keep yourself busy, because you can't just be 35 years old, be financially independent, and sit back and do nothing. You got to stay productive.
Well, I'm hoping to hit financial independence within the next 2, maybe 3 years here, which would put me at 34 years old, 35 years old with a 9-year-old son. I hope to find myself a wife one day and have 2 or 3 more kids. So, you know, Mark, when I'm down there with you, I won't be busy. I'll coach soccer and I'll recruit you to teach them how to play baseball so they develop the hand-eye coordination. That's the plan.
Sounds good. And one thing, my kids are grown, but in this area, everything I hear, the schools here are really good. So if you do move here and your son's in elementary school, as far as I know, there are good schools here. So
yeah, that is probably, you know, it's so funny. The things that become important to you as life goes on. I'm sure you've heard the saying before, like everybody starts out as a young person, more liberal, more democratic. And as you get older, you become more conservative because you're sick and tired of being taxed to death. And you start to care about things like, I say all the time, man, I really don't want my son to go to school here. I want him to go to school over here instead, because those issues become very important. And yes, a good school system is what matters to me nowadays as the old man I am slowly becoming.
That's it. So, all right, very cool. All right, Mike, well, you and I could probably keep talking for another hour, but this video will get too long. And next thing you know, nobody will be watching and we'll just be talking amongst ourselves. So we might as well wrap it up and then we can talk a little bit amongst ourselves. So,
Yes, sir.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to comment below. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like the videos. And if you haven't done so, check out Millennial Mike's channel because he puts out some great content. So for Millennial Mike, this and myself, Mazske Finance, we are signing out. So as always, stay safe in all you do, and we'll talk to you again soon.